In other news, the United Nations seals a deal on a critical commitment that will seek to safeguard 30% of the biodiversity in the high seas by the year 2030. Our Eun-jin reports.
A turning point has come for marine life in regions outside national boundaries, in areas known as the high seas. After 2 weeks of talks in New York, United Nations members have agreed on a unified treaty that will create a new body to manage the conservation of biodiversity across 30% of the Earth's seas. The agreement is the first of its kind since the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea came into force in 1994, a time well before marine biodiversity was established as a point of concern in terms of environmental protection. The latest move serves as both a historic milestone and a critical commitment in order to achieve the 30 by 30 pledge made by countries at the UN Biodiversity Conference in December to protect a third of the sea and its land by 2030.
Well, this is a historic milestone passed because this is a treaty that will enable protected areas to be created in nearly half the Earth's surface, which you couldn't do before. There was no legal mechanism of creating marine protected areas in what are called areas beyond national jurisdiction.
It's a very historic agreement, very exciting, and it will for the first time put in place a mechanism for creating these large marine sanctuaries in international waters, which is hugely important because right now only 1% of the high seas is protected within a marine reserve, and we need to get to 30% by 2030.
The high seas have long suffered exploitation due to commercial fishing and mining, as well as pollution from chemicals and plastics, which until now required global cooperation for marine sustainability. The treaty will provide a legal framework for establishing marine protected areas called MPAs and to protect against the loss of wildlife. It will establish a conference where parties will meet periodically and enable member states to be held accountable for issues such as governance and biodiversity. A huge achievement on a global front, but conservationists have highlighted some stumbling blocks. One of the biggest being the divide between developing and developed nations and how to fairly implement the treaty. Eun-jin, Arirang News.